Thanks for your time, man. Really appreciate it. How's things on your end at the moment?
Yeah, good. Yeah, good. Just getting back into rehearsals and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's good.
Yeah, it's good to see you back on the road. I guess this is your first time, I'm guessing, hitting the stages since the pandemic started, right?
Yeah, last time was March 2020 when we did a benefit for, I think it was CFS, MFS, with all the fires that were going on.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, then it was basically 2 years of our lives wiped away. And we had our first rehearsal about 4 weeks ago where we actually hadn't been in a room with I mean, I'd seen Kim obviously in that time, but as a band, it was first get together. And it was really good.
Yeah, I bet it would be. Yeah, no, it's a long time to not be a band, I guess, because it's hard to sort of not be in a room and not sort of be a band and do all the band sort of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, once we'd done that show, I mean, we were supposed to then start off. Well, the idea was 2020 was going to be sorry, I'm at an angle here. 2020 was going to be Ill at Ease. Was going to be the Ill at Ease tour. And we were going to go, later that year, we were supposed to go out and do that because it was the 25th anniversary at that time.
Yeah.
And of course, then, it doesn't matter if it's 26, 27, but 25th made sense, go out and do it after we just done Battle Sick at 30 the year before. And then, whatever. It's just like COVID got in the way and, no one was traveling, no bands were going and it wasn't fucking worth it anyway. So, we still have Ill at Ease planned for next year. But then this year it was just the Samia thing got announced, so we said, oh well, look, let's do a few shows just to celebrate the induction part of it. And then it's just expanded. Now we were going to do just Adelaide, Melbourne and Sydney, and now it's like Gold Coast, Brisbane, Perth and everywhere else.
It's good. It's a bit of a surprise. I didn't think you'd be back here anytime soon, but I mean, I did catch you with on the Battle Sick tour in 2019. I think it was around October or November, I think. So and that was a fun show. I hadn't seen you guys in years. And how did the rest of that tour end up going for you?
I was really good, and it was great. It was really good. Perth was really good. I mean, people always go, oh, you need to come to Perth. And quite often it's a balance of like, if we can get enough people to the shows. And we don't generally get as many people in Perth as we get, Melbourne, Sydney,
sure.
and Adelaide. But, 500 is good. And, we like the shows because it's quite often it's in venues that are really like, when we first started, which is we love playing in, I might call them small venues because they're not really, but, those medium-sized venues, that's where we cut our teeth and it's actually preferable. We like it.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of feel like you guys are sort of a sort of real sort of club band, sort of intimate and all that kind of stuff. It kind of fits your sound and all that kind of stuff. And I kind of agree. I kind of prefer those shows as well, to be honest.
Yeah, big stages and shit. That's, when all those festivals were on, whoop-de-doo, great. It becomes nothing. There's no real, that atmosphere of, as you say, the intimacy, people are there, you come on, you play fucking hard, no frills, and they're the best shows.
Yeah, 100%. I totally agree. Congratulations, by the way, on the induction as well. That must be a very gratifying feeling to have as well.
It is. I was always a bit mixed emotions about the whole, awards and all that sort of stuff. We never really received any throughout our time that we were in Adelaide, even at our, what I call the most productive period in the 90s. So having it come, it was nice. It came out of left field and I did wonder how I felt about it. And I thought, well, actually, I feel sort of proud. So I take that as it is, and we're happy, very happy to be inducted.
Yeah, it's funny because as far as the kind of music you play, and especially in the underground scene, it's like you guys are sort of a good representative of South Australia as well. When you think of Adelaide bands and the kind of music you guys play, Mark of Cain is certainly one of the bands that I personally think of as well. And then to sit your band amongst all the other bands that have been inducted into that Hall of Fame as well, that's another great thing to have.
It's weird, but when you think about all the other bands seem to have like at least a hit that you can hum. It's not really the case with us, but that's okay.
So was the reason behind this whole tour around that then, or did you plan on doing this tour anyway? Or
no, where the whole idea was once we felt that COVID was less prevalent and people could go out safely, we were going to do ill at ease. And I think whatever happened, I just recall that we probably would have tried to do ill at ease this time this year. I think it got really difficult suddenly to get some shows booked or something. I'm not quite sure how it happened, but then we got told that we were being asked to, like the induction, and so we said, oh, well, okay. The idea was let's just do Adelaide, Melbourne, and Sydney, because we had a lot of core fans there, and we thought, well, that's easy to do.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we didn't really think probably enough about it. The next thing, Adelaide shows sold out, literally after 2 days or whatever, and people are saying, well, I missed out. So we put on another show in Adelaide, and then and Melbourne and Sydney won't sell out there. But there'll be good numbers. And then, of course, the usual, the complaints started coming in, why not Perth, why not Gold Coast? So we're like, oh, fuck it. If people want it and the socials are looking pretty good, then it made sense to do it.
Yeah, definitely. Especially in this sort of climate, with the music scene and COVID and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I guess you've got to be a little bit more careful as to what shows you do these days, right?
Yeah, well, I'm hoping it's not going to be a fucking super spreader event, but it seems to be no one gives a shit anymore about, really most of the places have just said, well, what a fuck it, we'll roll with it. My concern is, obviously I've had COVID. Eli's had COVID. Kim hasn't, which is really surprising because he travels most of all of us. He's always up to Canberra and Sydney and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I've just said, you fucking watch. It better not fucking transpire that you get COVID, 3 days before about the tour.
Yeah.
So we've said to him, he needs to lock himself away for that week before we go and get on tour. He needs to just fucking hunker down and not go anywhere.
Yeah, because that's the risk these days, isn't it? I mean, you see so many tours happening, and then halfway through, someone gets COVID, and that's it. It sort of cans the whole thing. It's a huge risk to have. And
the thing is, it's great. You're in venues, and you've got people, and everybody's excited. People are drunk, and the personal space closes in, and you got people talking to you, and all of a sudden, that's how that happens. So I think we're probably going to just make sure we just remind one another that as wonderful as it is to, have nice, long, intimate chats with fans and whatnot, just to be mindful that it could be spell the end of the tour. So we'll have to be a little careful, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I guess a lot of bands are kind of changing the way they do shows and tours now because of what's happened. I mean, obviously that's something you guys have obviously thought about, for the future as well. Like how you're going to be touring and all that kind of stuff.
We don't really. We haven't really, I've got to say. I think the most thing is we'll probably just be a little bit more aware of personal space. I don't know whether there'll be masks that we'll concern about backstage. I mean, I've seen people brutally fucking paid out for wearing masks lately. And, what are you fucking wearing a mask for? It's just like, well, some people are immunocompromised, so fucking have to. Let's not be judgmental, but if people want to wear them, fucking they should. I think we're a long way down the track from 2 years ago when if we saw someone with a mask, we thought, what's wrong with you? You got fucking COVID. Now we sort of I think we've moved into that more understanding that the reason they wear them all the time, and even in China, is because fucking the density of population, it's fucking easy to catch shit.
Yeah.
So maybe we've moved a bit. We'll see.
Yeah, definitely. Now what can fans expect is obviously on this tour, because obviously last tour you had, it was Battlesick, and this one, what's the plan for this one, or what kind of set list are we going to be expecting?
I think it's pretty similar to when we toured in between any of those. It's a couple of songs from Battlesick, Unclaimed Prize, This Is This, Ill at Ease, songs of the third and the fifth. It's a mixture. You get a couple from each, and encore is, we can probably predict the encore, but but a few others tucked in there so that we can mix up sets, so we're not playing exactly the same thing in every city. But yeah, it'll be good.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that because that's something that I sort of think about as well. Are you the kind of band that likes to change the set list from show to show?
Yeah, not fully. Well, we'll usually have a structure of. We'll usually have at least 2 choices of opening songs, and we have our own, songs that we prefer to open with. And then there'll be sort of in a middle section, there'll be a couple that we'll swap around here and there. A lot of, I don't know if people collect them and publish them online after we've been, but you'll see there's usually, a fairly set standard, but there'll be a few flipped in and out. We do it for ourselves as well. That's part of it. And the other thing is there are songs that we really like, and sometimes we just don't get to play all the songs that we personally like. But we have our favourites that, like we'll do Battle Sick. We'll do, things like The Return, or what I call You Are Alone from Battle Sick. We'll do Fire in a Heart, UCD, maybe Cap on John from Unclaimed Prize. We'll always do Familiar Territory, or do LMA will always creep in there somewhere. Point Man will always be in the encore. I'm giving it all away, but that's the sort of songs that we'll be playing, and the various ones off at Illies. Of course, Interlope, but First Time. Our idea is Illies gets a showing next year. We'll play the entire album.
So I wanted to ask you as well, like beyond these shows, after the tour and finishes, what's the plan for the Mark of Cain then?
We just all go back into hibernation, Eli goes back to teaching drums. Kim goes back to doing his work, whatever his defensive work is. And I go back doing my public safety stuff that I work in. Okay. The band sort of stops for a while. That's not to say I'd like to. There's stuff I keep writing. I wrote stuff during obviously the last couple of years, but it's a matter of having the time to sit down with the guys and run them through it when we're not rehearsing up for a show, and see what if any of them if they like the songs that I'm doing, and maybe we record something. I don't know. It's come up a few times. People say, when are you going to do new stuff? And it's there, but I don't think we feel particularly driven to output stuff at this stage, but we can try.
Yeah, no, people have obviously been asking, when's going to be the next album or EP or whatever, is there, what's the reason behind sort of not putting out any new material?
I think it's largely just where we're at, and probably with age, careers, and we're not like, we don't practice and meet every week. We tend to get together when we need to do tours. If we put a stake in the ground though and say, hey, look, let's write some new stuff before blah, then we'll do that. And I think that's really all that hasn't happened, and it's probably up to me to define that line in the sand and say, okay, let's try and write some songs record them by March next year. It's just something really that I haven't done. It's a little bit of it's, I don't know. I think it's largely a little bit too that as you get older, I don't know, just because I'm getting more complacent, possibly. I haven't got that drive probably that I had when I was younger, that I had to write shit and get it out there, and I've got all this stuff in my head, I've got to put it out there, and it's less of it, and there's less things that I want to write about, and I also don't want to tread necessarily the same thing that we've trod before. It's weird. I think I'm more these days have more music ideas, but lyrically less so, because I feel like I've said a lot that I want to say lyrically. It's you just don't want to tread. You don't necessarily want to tread all the same tropes that you've done previously. Like, at what point do people say get a mental health plan and fucking stop saying how depressed you are and fucking get yourself sorted out? But not that I'm saying that's how I am, but,
it's a tricky fine balance, I guess, to have. You don't want to repeat yourself and always try to come up with something fresh and new. And I guess that's hard for a band to sort of come up with. Especially these days. There's so much to stuff to write about, but like, how much of it is really original anymore? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's yeah, and I guess, and you can be you can be a band that writes about what's current around. There's a lot of stuff that's current and will never change, but sometimes you date yourself because do you want to necessarily enmesh yourself in that period of time you are? Maybe that's okay. It's not something I've ever really wanted to do. I've always written in such a way that it can be sort of any time. It's interesting. I think that's more a question for bands that are, that more, they're more interested in, I call making it, but like making a real career out of what they do. I don't think we ever did. A lot of where we've got is just pure, not happenstance. There's been hard work, but it's not like we were ever trying to be fucking, at the top of the pops or write songs that were, everyone will be whistling as they walk around.
Yeah. Well, looking forward to seeing you again. I'm definitely going to be getting a ticket and catching you live again on this tour. So looking forward to it, and have fun, enjoy the tour, and good luck, man. Because hopefully everything will go right and you don't get COVID or all that kind of stuff. So
I fucking better not get it again. But, we'll be doing. Yeah, come up and say g'day, please, when you're there, and we'll have a drink.
Cool, man. We'll do.